A major scandal erupted when a recording surfaced of a Campbell Soup executive making disparaging remarks about the company's products and ethnic coworkers. The vice president and chief information security officer was secretly recorded during a November meeting where he disparaged Campbell's Soup as poor people's food and criticized the use of bioengineered ingredients. More shockingly, he made racist comments about Indian colleagues, questioning their intelligence and capability. This led to a lawsuit filed by a former cybersecurity analyst who recorded the meeting, throwing the company into a PR crisis. The hosts discussed how this reflects poorly not only on the individual, but also casts a shadow over the company and its hiring practices. A key takeaway was caution at the workplace. Never assume conversations are private, as recordings can resurface and cause severe consequences. Campbell Soup now faces the challenge of damage control, managing both public backlash and internal morale. The conversation also touched on the significant amount of sodium in canned soups, highlighting broader issues around food quality and health. Campbell's products, while affordable and widely consumed, are often high in sodium, a fact not well known by many consumers. There was excitement around whispers of potential interest rate cuts, a development that could majorly influence both the broader economy and the cryptocurrency market. Paul Barron, a guest expert with deep experience in technology and crypto investments, spoke on the implications of such a move. Paul explained how interest rate decisions by the Federal Reserve critically affect investor sentiment, borrowing costs, and ultimately crypto asset valuations. Lower interest rates tend to boost risk-on investment behavior, possibly triggering renewed interest in crypto and tech stocks. Paul's insights drew from his history expanding Microsoft's market in Asia and supporting crypto networks through his media platform. The conversation underscored the dynamic interplay between traditional financial policies and emerging digital assets, stressing the importance of watching rate signals closely for both institutional and retail investors. The team delved deeper into Campbell Soup's product composition, focusing on the health implications of high sodium levels. Sodium content in canned soup can reach over 600 milligrams per serving, a substantial percentage of daily recommended intake. The American Heart Association recommends limiting sodium to 1 to 500 milligrams per day, so regular consumption of such soups can significantly contribute to excessive intake. The discussion highlighted the tension between product affordability and nutritional standards. Lower-income consumers often rely on canned soups because of their low prices, typically around $1 per can, making this a tricky issue. Tom emphasized the need for Campbell and similar manufacturers to innovate healthier options. Beyond the scandal, the team viewed this as an opportunity for Campbell and the industry to reconsider food standards and address rising health concerns effectively. Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff's enthusiastic endorsement of Google's Gemini 3 AI model sparked a lively discussion. Benioff tweeted that after spending 2 hours testing Gemini, he wouldn't return to ChatGPT, citing Gemini's superior reasoning, speed, and multimedia capabilities like enhanced video and image understanding. While the praise generated buzz in AI circles, the hosts noted Benioff's history of late adoption and grand proclamations in tech, which sometimes miss the mark. The panel debated if Google's Gemini could genuinely disrupt OpenAI's dominance in large language models. A comparison of Gemini, ChatGPT, and Perplexity AI's responses to identical complex queries revealed that Gemini's speed was notably faster, though the depth and accuracy differences were more nuanced. The competitive landscape remains fluid, with aggressive investment and innovation driving rapid evolution. Despite the hype, many agreed it could take years before a clear AI leader emerges. Tom explained his approach of running identical prompts through rivals Gemini, ChatGPT, and Perplexity to gauge comparative strengths. While Gemini impressed with responsiveness and integration of multimedia content, ChatGPT excelled in providing synthesized answers with credible source references. Perplexity's unique value lay in its ability to quickly index and list multiple source articles, giving users robust access to original research. The hosts likened the AI arms race to the historic battles between Intel and AMD, or HD versus 4K TVs, emphasizing how technological leaps often come in waves fueled by competition. The panel also drew parallels between AI service providers and processor manufacturers, noting that power and reach often depend on underlying infrastructure and strategic partnerships. Despite emerging challengers, OpenAI retains a substantial market share, but Google's rising momentum through Gemini is a significant factor altering market dynamics. A contentious story focused on famed investor Michael Burry's public criticisms of Nvidia's accounting practices. Burry alleges that Nvidia uses overly generous depreciation schedules for its expensive AI chips, understating costs substantially by approximately $176 billion through 2028. Depreciating chips over 6 years instead of 2 or 3 reduces annual expenses, inflating reported profits. Nvidia strongly denied any wrongdoing, sending memos to Wall Street analysts refuting Burry's claims and stressing their profitable, transparent business model. The debate touched on how technical accounting choices can influence investor perception and stock valuations. Burry's reputation from his 2008 housing market bet lends weight to his analysis, though some panelists noted that his recent calls have been less accurate. Nvidia's response, exemplified by CEO Jensen Huang's long-term vision, indicates a focus on sustained innovation to maintain market leadership. The conflict underscores how high-stakes battles in emerging tech sectors play out not just in labs, but also in financial markets and public opinion. The podcast explored a developing trend where insurers are excluding coverage for losses caused by artificial intelligence errors. This shift arises due to the difficulty of assessing and underwriting risks related to AI mistakes, especially as AI systems operate at large scale and speed compared to human operators. For example, a chatbot deployed by Air Canada reportedly malfunctioned, causing financial trouble, highlighting unpredictability in AI behavior. This exclusion leaves companies vulnerable to significant liability gaps, as traditional errors and omissions, E&O insurance policies, have well-understood underwriting histories for human mistakes. Panelists drew parallels to early ransomware insurance denials and stressed that until more historical data and regulatory frameworks develop, insurers will be cautious. The slippery slope involves legal questions about responsibility when AI-generated misinformation or actions result in harm, a complexity the industry is actively grappling with. A new AI industry-backed super PAC launched a $10 million campaign advocating for a single, uniform national approach to AI regulation. The stated goal is to preempt a complex patchwork of 50 state-level laws that could overwhelm companies with inconsistent requirements. However, the hosts interpreted the move as primarily self-serving, aimed at reducing legal complexity and lobbying costs for industry players. The strategy mirrors historical efforts in automotive and tech sectors to centralize regulatory control to benefit corporations. Critics fear such federal legislation might prioritize industry interests over consumer protections, potentially impeding innovation or enabling undue surveillance. Panelists urged vigilance and public engagement to ensure any policymaking balances accountability, innovation, and rights, rather than favoring entrenched corporate power. The conversation reflected on positive impacts attributed to the Trump administration's economic policies. Among the wins cited were increased NATO defense spending commitments, deregulation easing burdens on small businesses, capital expenditure expensing incentivizing investment, and supportive frameworks for digital currencies like stablecoins. Additionally, international trade moves indirectly prompted Canadian provincial reforms, showcasing wider geopolitical effects. While the panelists agreed more work remains, especially on wage growth and affordability, they praised achievements including inflation containment efforts, Saudi recognition of Israel fostering investment, and efforts toward energy production benefits. This segment segued into a Thanksgiving message encouraging gratitude and family connections, emphasizing the broader context beyond political differences. Homeowners across the U.S. are bracing for insurance premium increases of roughly 8% annually through 2027 amid rising natural disasters and inflation-driven rebuilding costs. Although spotlight often falls on disaster-prone states like Florida and California, the trend is widespread. Increased claims from wildfires, hurricanes, and other catastrophes strain insurers, leading them to adjust rates to maintain solvency. Panelists noted that factors like poor forest management in California exacerbate risks, shifting blame from insurers to governmental policy shortcomings. The rising cost of labor and materials, shortage of skilled tradespeople, and supply chain constraints inflate replacement expenses, pushing premiums higher. This dynamic creates significant challenges for homeowners, but also underscores the interconnectedness of public policy, environmental management, and market forces in housing affordability. Recent Federal Reserve research reveals a troubling convergence. Young college graduates are no longer finding jobs faster than their high school-educated peers. Unemployment among college-educated young adults rose, partly due to AI-driven slowdowns in white-collar hiring. The hosts explored how degree selection significantly affects employment prospects, with STEM, healthcare, and business-related fields showing better outcomes, while liberal arts and some social sciences suffer higher unemployment rates. The panel advised caution for students pursuing degrees disconnected from market demands and highlighted the value of trades amid skill shortages in plumbing, electrical, and construction fields. The importance of cultivating problem-solving and leadership skills, as well as non-traditional competencies like critical thinking and adaptability, was emphasized as key preparation for the evolving workforce. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' ambitious plan to eliminate property taxes for primary residences was examined as a potential game-changer for affordability and migration patterns. The proposal aims to free homeowners from ongoing rent-to-government payments on owned properties, encouraging homeownership and leveraging state revenue from tourism-based taxes. The governor contrasted Florida's modest budget compared to New York's, highlighting tax advantages and business-friendly policies attracting residents. Concerns were raised about how removing property tax might drive up home prices if housing supply remains constrained, potentially exacerbating affordability issues. A suggested safeguard would be imposing higher taxes on investment properties like Airbnbs to discourage speculative buying while benefiting residents. The discussion underscored a broader competition among states for talent and capital, framing tax policies as a critical lever in future political and economic contests.